Assalamu alaikum, friends. Welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, we are going to dive right into an absolutely amazing story today, and I am so thrilled you're here with us, because today we're opening up the Quran to discover a truly fascinating piece of history. We're going to look closely at Surah Al-Masad. Have you ever wondered how Allah protects those who are kind, even when other people are being incredibly cruel? Well, today we're exploring the story of someone who actually used to throw sharp, thorny branches right in the path of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It's a real story about a mean uncle, a rope of fire, and how Allah himself stepped right in to defend the Prophet.
But first, I want you to really think about something for a quick second. How would you feel if you saw someone being really mean to the kindest person you know? Like, if someone yelled at you or a friend, wouldn't you feel sad or, upset? I want you to comment below, or even just turn to your parents right now and tell them how you'd feel about that kind of bullying. It's super important to understand those feelings, because that's exactly what was happening to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was the kindest, most honest person in his entire community, yet he faced some terrible bullying. So let's see exactly how all of that started.
All right, picture this. Our story actually begins on a really beautiful mountain. One day, the Prophet, peace be upon him, climbed up super high on Mount As-Safa in Mecca. He stood right at the very top and called out to his entire family and his tribe, the Quraysh. You see, he wanted to give them a very important message, but first, he kinda needed to ask them a question just to remind them of who he was.
He looked down at this massive crowd that had gathered, and he asked them, "If I told you that an enemy army was hiding right behind this mountain, ready to attack us, would you believe me?" And you know what? The crowd didn't even hesitate. They all shouted out, "Yes." Do you know why? Because they had never ever known him to tell a lie. They actually called him the truthful and the trustworthy. So having proven that they completely trusted his word, he went ahead and gave them his actual warning. He told them that they needed to stop worshiping statues and only worship Allah.
But guys, here is where the trouble really begins. In that crowd was the Prophet's very own uncle, a man named Abu Lahab. Now, you'd probably think your own uncle would be the first person to support you, right? But Abu Lahab was a very proud, very arrogant man. When he heard the Prophet telling them to only worship Allah, he got incredibly angry. His face just turned red with rage, and he decided to try and humiliate his own nephew right there in front of everyone.
And right then and there, he yelled out this shocking and honestly terrible insult. He screamed, "Taban lak." This basically translates to, "May you perish" or "May you be ruined." Just imagine for a second how much that must have hurt. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was just trying to save his family, trying to guide them to goodness, and his own uncle screamed at him, literally wishing for his complete destruction for the rest of the day. It was a massive insult, meant to just break the Prophet's heart and ruin his reputation in front of the whole city. So the absolutely crucial point here is how the Prophet reacted. Did he yell back? Did he scream terrible insults in return? Nope. He didn't even have to argue back, because Allah answered for him. Allah revealed Surah Al-Masad to defend his messenger directly. The surah begins with, "Tabat yada Abi Lahab," which means it's actually Abu Lahab whose hands are ruined, and it's Abu Lahab who has completely perished. The very insult that mean uncle threw at the Prophet was flipped perfectly right back at him by the creator of the universe. You see, Abu Lahab kinda thought he was untouchable. He was incredibly rich and very powerful. But there is a huge difference between vanishing wealth and eternal truth. The Quran says about him, "Ma agna anhu malahu wa ma kasab," meaning his wealth and everything he earned could not save him at all. It really doesn't matter how many giant piles of gold coins you have. When you're wicked and you fight against Allah's message, all that money simply vanishes when it comes to your true standing with Allah.
But wait, it actually gets crazier. Abu Lahab wasn't acting alone in this. His wife, a woman named Jamil, was just as mean as he was. The Quran gives her a very specific title, Hamalat al-Hatab, which means the carrier of thorny wood. Why? Because she used to literally gather heavy bundles of sharp, painful, thorny branches and sneak out to place them right in the path where she knew the Prophet, peace be upon him, would walk, just hoping to cut his feet and hurt him.
And her cruelty didn't even stop there. She actually took her most prized possession, this very expensive, fancy necklace, and sold it just to get more money to fund bad things against the Prophet. So Allah promises a punishment that perfectly matches her terrible actions. The surah ends by saying, "Fi jidiha hablun min masad." Because she sold her necklace for evil and carried ropes of heavy thorns to hurt the Prophet, around her neck in the next life will be a masad, a tightly twisted rope of raging fire.
So what does this all mean for us today?
Let's break down the big takeaways from this explainer. First off, we must always have the best manners. Notice how the Prophet didn't scream back, he stayed dignified. Second, we must always love, respect, and defend the Prophet, peace be upon him, in our hearts. And finally, wealth is completely useless without a good heart. You could be the richest person in the world, just like Abu Lahab, but if you're mean and arrogant, that money simply cannot save you.
Didn't you just love uncovering that story? If you and your parents want to learn way more amazing Quran stories just like this one, understand simple Arabic, and memorize surahs step by step with proper tajweed, then Muslim Academy is exactly what you've been looking for. Our native Arab teachers make learning super fun, highly interactive, and it's all focused on live, one-on-one online classes that fit right into your schedule.
So go ahead and ask your parents to click the link below to visit muslimacademy.com and book your absolutely free trial class today. It is for sure the best way to start building a lifelong love and understanding of the Quran. But before we go, I want you to ask yourself this one last thing. How can you show kindness to someone today, even if they aren't being totally kind to you? Think about it. Book your free trial and I will see you in class. Assalamu alaikum.